Cindy, thanks for that. I thought I turned it on. For some reason, I thought I just turned it on, and I guess I did. So I don't know what the deal is. I thought for sure I turned it on. But whatever, it's on now. Uh, thanks. It's on now. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. So, I don't know if you or anybody watching this. There's like two people watching it. Okay. So I don't know if you or anyone else was watching it. I'm coming up with a few things. I actually come up with a uh, I just came up with some little bit of extra stuff. I had written earlier. I had written a part where I was starting to write a sort of a walkthrough, and of course I didn't get very far, but I did add some stuff, and that is when John sneaks into Princess Prep. It's been closed down. Okay, so basically here's the situation. In Enchanted Lands, a previously banished sorcerer has been rumored to have returned. Okay, and the king had sold Enchanted Lands to this guy named Maximilian, who just came in with his company, and so now Max has closed. He's closed Fairy God College down. In fact, um, it seems to be active, but there's nobody is allowed to go in there. And then night school, they're all training with the real weapons, and I don't know. There's a few other things that I have to figure out as to what kind of information is gleaned from night school. Night school isn't shut down, but it's no longer training people for a resort vacation. It's actually training the Enchanted Guard, which is the military of Enchanted Lands, with real weapons and stuff like that. And Fairy God College is closed. Uh, it's active, but it's closed. Night School is active and open, but it's not training like tourists anymore right now. Princess Prep has just been closed, plain shut down. Princess Prep is where would-be princesses who wanted to vacation and wanted to be a real princess for a day. They go and they learn a little bit about being a princess in the school, and and in fact, you're gonna find out later that there was a princess there that was supposed to go speak there, and she was abducted in the beginning of the story. But anyways, so Princess Prep is closed down, and Wizard University, or Wizard U as I call it, it's also been closed down. And Hubert, when he or Harold, I might go back to Harold. Okay, so there's a story here. Hey Crasher, welcome to the stream. And we got literally Shinde, who is also from India, which is cool. And of course, India is a big country, I'm sure. It's good. You guys got a lot of people over there, you know, next to almost next to China, I guess. But anyhow, okay, so I'm going through this little bit of a story. Okay, so Shinde doesn't really. I don't think he knows much of the story here of the game. And Crasher, I don't know if you know that much either. You know a little bit though, because I explained a lot of it that other day, that one day. Anyways, so Wizard U is closed down. Princess Prep is closed down. Fairy God College is closed up, but it's still active. In other words, there's stuff going on in there. You're gonna find out later that anybody that was in there for Fairy Godmother training has been trapped there, and Violet Moonshadow, who is Max's right hand woman, is trying to turn them into evil witches, and which doesn't I don't think it's going to really work very well. Anyways, so we're going back to the thing. Okay, so the schools are basically they're not working right now, at least not as they're intended. So I had written this partial walkthrough, and you eventually you get into Princess Prep, and into the headmistress's office, and you notice that there's two plants behind her desk, and it's in front of a window, and one of the plants seems to be kind of bulging. It seems to be kind of shaking, and he hears some mumbling, and so basically he frees the headmistress who's been trapped in there for a while. And then I was just thinking that I should probably put some of this down here because I'm gonna do it in the when I get to the story beat, when I get to the page of where he actually goes into Princess Prep. I'm actually gonna do this, but I decided that I'm gonna make part of there'll be a kind of a puzzle in letting her out. I don't remember what I put earlier because I'll have to go back and actually read it. But I just come up with this idea that she's been there for months. She's been missing for months. And he goes in, he finds her, and he notices this plant has flowers on it, and it's bulging a little bit. And as he's examining it, he starts hearing this kind of muffled speaking, and it's telling him, it's instructing him to pull off the flowers. And so once he pulls off all the flowers, the plant releases her, and she says she's been in there for months. And I just come up with this idea that um, the reason she's able to survive was because she was able to eat the flowers on the inside. When they started budding, she started eating them, and then she reveals to him that that was probably the reason he was able to easily release her, is because it was already weakened, and so all he had to do was pull off the external flowers, and then so I just kind of come up with that off the top of my head based on what I'd written earlier. I think I have a different method, or a different story in an earlier part. I'll have to actually look at it later. But I wanted to write this down, so that's what I'm writing down right now. And he's not going to really learn anything about Princess Prep from night school, because he's actually got to go over to Princess Prep and examine that. But other than the fact that it's closed up, and so what I'm writing here will go on one of these pages. It says John doesn't learn much about Princess Prep from the princesses hanging around night school, other than it was closed down fairly early and the headmistress hasn't been seen in months. And I guess headmistress should be one word, but hasn't been seen in months. Later on, when he gets to Princess Prep, he finds the headmistress's office and notices the open desk. He hears some faint mumbling and notices two plants in the corners near the window behind her chair. One seems to be slightly enlarged, and after a closer inspection, he notices some of the flowers just give off pleasant citrus aroma, and the enlarged plant seems to be shuddering, and noises seem to be coming from it. And this is what I was getting to here to actually reading. If you're wondering why I keep looking up to the side, and I'm probably I don't know which side it is for you. It's to my right, so it would be to your left. But anyways, I keep looking at it because your chat is. I'm just using Restream to stream to both YouTube and Rumble, and the chat, um, it has a chat thing that will actually go to both YouTube and Rumble, and so I'm looking at the chat every so often to make sure that somebody's speaking there. So I talk to you in the camera, and then I switch over and I look over at the text to see if anybody's responded. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so planet seems to be shuddering. Noises coming from it. Uh, After a minute, he recognizes some of the noises as words, instructing him to pull off the flowers. And then when he does so, the plant slowly releases the headmistress. When she claims she's been there for months, he asked her how she survived without food and water, and she replies that she started eating the flowers whenever they budded. Uh, and it kept her alive. She also mentions, and this is really not that important, but it's just a kind of a logic that I'm applying here to the story a little bit. She also mentions that's why he was easily able to release her, is because it was already weakened uh, when he started pulling off the external flowers. Um, the head mistress goes on to tell John that a princess was meant to come and speak at the school. Let's see. But she never made it. Okay. John actually sees her being kidnapped. Uh, okay, it's gonna be closed before that. She's not gonna know that she didn't make it. Uh, when they closed everything down, and then she was able to see within the confines of the plant that a woman approached the desk and took some items. Okay, and I don't know if okay. Okay, so all right, let me save this. I know this isn't actually part of the game here, but in the sense that I'm not actually making part of the game, I'm actually writing some of the backstory or some of the story. Let me find. Let's see. Let's see. Let's make sure let's see if I 60. Okay. So this is okay. So this is actually the text here. Uh, After asking around, John finds out the schools were closed one day, and the only explanation given is refurbishment. Night schools left open so they could actually train the military, and since there didn't seem to be many tourists around, they decided to train them with real weapons, real fighting. He also learned one day that the dragons started acting evil. It was no longer safe to be around them. He also learned that Princess Karen was due to speak at Princess Prep, but hasn't shown up yet. But it doesn't matter anyways because the school is closed. Now, I was going to say that he doesn't find out much about Princess Prep. He hasn't found out much about Princess Prep from night school, but I guess the one thing is that he could find out that she was going to speak but never made it at the night school like I have it written down there. So I can actually still do that. It's the headmistress. She's been there for months, so she's not going to know anything that's happened since then. Um, and this is where he'll actually put together that the woman that was kidnapped is actually the princess that was supposed to speak there at the school. Okay, hasn't shown up yet. He learns Princess Prep was a year both closed. And actually, it's going to be Hubert that's going to find that out. Fairy God College is probably open, but they're not letting anyone in or anyone leave. John managed to find a way into Princess Prep. Once inside, he managed to make his way to the headmistress' office, where after looking at her desk, finds a piece of paper with the words Princess Karen Verdant's itinerary. Okay, so he actually finds the itinerary there. Okay, that's one thing. After looking at the list, the first thing he notices is the top item saying that she was supposed to go to the Grand Enchanted Landing Hotel after she lands. Okay. So that's already established there. That is what I had in mind. Okay, John then starts hearing muffled sounds in the room. He still can't see what it is, as the room looks fairly normal. There are two identical plants in the corner of the headmistress' office. After examining the plants a bit more, one of the plants seems to have wrapped its leaves around something. With a little effort, you manage to pull the plants to reveal the headmistress. I just added this thing about the flowers and stuff just recently, so I was figuring that's probably a good thing to put in there. After being freed, she tells John that a woman entered her office, cast a spell on one of her plants, which managed to wrap its leaves around her and wouldn't let her go. But from what she could see, the woman opened her desk, pulled out the princess itinerary along with hotel tickets and a badge and various other odds and ends, and then left her here to suffocate. John notices the tickets are gone. Of course, she's not suffocating, so I decided that I'm changing that. But we can uh, I can actually here. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to go ahead and copy, and I'm going to go back down to the main deal down here, and I'm going to actually let me. I think I'll put it on top here, like that. Now this is kind of interesting. Apparently, I had like a lower. Um, apparently, I had a smaller font size here. Probably a different style font too. Um, okay. Liberation Mono. This one is Liberation Serif. Okay, it's just because it's a different font. I guess I'm going with this font though, so I'm gonna have to switch this all to. Um, oh darn it! Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I have too many. Liberation. Where's Liberation Mono? There we go. I see. Mono. It's mono space is what it is. Okay. All right. So let's extract a few things here. Once let's see. What did I put here? Okay. Uh, Night school, blah blah blah. Learned one day that Jackson started acting and no longer safe. Princess Karen was due to speak. Okay. Yep, doesn't matter anyway. School's closed. Princess Prep. Frey God College. Okay, so I'm gonna chunk this out because this has nothing to do with that down there. Fantasy. What's inside? Um. Okay, so what did I put down here? Uh, this is the open desk. Uh, I'm gonna take some of this here. Wait a second. After looking on her desk, finds a piece of paper. After looking at the list, okay. Hit delete. We're gonna put this in here. Uh, okay. We get to Princess Prep, an open desk. In the desk. Okay. In the desk, he finds a piece of paper with the words Princess Karen and Verdant's itinerary. After looking at the list, the first thing he notices at the top is the item saying that she's supposed to go to the Grand Enchanted Landing Hotel. After she lands, and here's if she lands, period. John, okay, so John hears some fake mumbling notes, two plants in the corners. Okay. After being freed, she tells John that women entered her office. Uh, okay. along with hotels at this bitch, and then left her here. Okay. Took some items. Let's go ahead and here. So after being freed, she tells John. I guess this is okay to leave that in there. A little bit of duplication or a little bit of redundancy isn't going to hurt anything because this isn't something that's actually going in. It's like well, the information is going to go in, but it's not going to actually go into the game here. So headmistress goes on to tell John that a princess meant to come speak at school. Okay. Uh, okay. Uh, the headmistress tells John that. Wait. In your office. Okay, so I'm gonna back this up here. After being freed, the headmistress tells John that a woman entered her office and cast a spell on one of the planets, which made us rapidly around her and wouldn't let her go. From what she could see, the woman opened the desk, pulled out the princess itinerary along with um. Okay, because already weekend started pulling off the flowers. How about then, instead of after being freed, we'll just say then the headmistress then tells John that a woman entered her office and then casts a spell on one of the plants, which managed to wrap its leaves around her and wouldn't let her go. But from what she could see, the woman opened her desk, pulled out the princess itinerary along with the hotel tickets and a badge and various other odds and ends and left her here. Um, John states when he first came to Enchanted Lands, he saw a woman that could very well have been a princess get kidnapped by a gnome. Okay. So that leaves that. And I understand that that has nothing to do with night school here, but I figured I had to add that in there so that when I get to the princess prep part, I'll be able to add that stuff in pretty quickly and easily. Now we're back to the dilemma of what does John actually find out at night school, and I mean, other than them training with weapons, um, finding out that Princess Prep was closed, which he actually finds out at night school. He doesn't actually find it out later. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and try again, and I guess today maybe I won't get any of the page done today, but I need information. Um, Never made it uh, before it was closed down. Um, and granted, okay, so here's the little thing. I've been trying to keep it to where logically that events happen kind of logically. And so the idea here would have been that it would have been a while before information could get around that, say for instance, that the princess never showed up. Well, John experiences her being kidnapped, so he's there right then. So uh, here I'm kind of faced with dilemma where they already know it, even though it's uh, that they already know it, even though it's happened, not very long ago. I mean, I could make it hours. I could stretch it a little bit, but there hasn't been enough time passed for them to learn everything. Unless I use, I don't know if you guys ever watch The Critical Drinker. He like often reviews movies and gives us opinion about woke crap and or sometimes just whether a movie is good or not. And one of the things he talks about is sometimes in these movies they'll have this like what he calls the magical BS device. Basically, it's just something to explain why they can do stuff that they can do without actually giving it a proper explanation. It's like, oh, it's magic. Like that automatically explains it. And so, I might have to do a little magical BS devicing in here because it hasn't been that long since he hasn't been in the lands that long, and if she was just kidnapped off of his train, even if some time's passed, like hours, um, they wouldn't automatically know. So I might have to do some sort of like a magic thingy, like they're gonna be there'll probably be some girls gossiping. In fact, the quote unquote babe nights. Now, this was an attempt to make knights female at all. It was meant as a joke because it's like a school. So you have the various cliques. You have the jocks and you have the geeks and you have, I only remember a little bit from my high school days, and that was years and years ago. Um, in fact, you probably wouldn't know it to look at me, but I'm going to be turning 50 on the 23rd in like 2 weeks. So I was in high school in like 1990 to 1994. I graduated in 94. So I only remember certain things from my high school time. I don't remember, I don't know anything after that. I don't have any kids. You know, I, um, I don't know if I should say this online, but I've never had a girlfriend. I don't date. I've never dated. I have social anxiety, so there's a reason why I, haven't. I had a few friends in high school, but other than that, not many. So I'm pretty sheltered. So everything, all the news, everything about trends and whatever is usually from the web now. It used to be a little bit from TV. Like, I was still watching regular TV in the '90s, up into the 2000s, when I was living in Oregon, in Wilsonville, Oregon. Well, it doesn't really matter where Wilsonville is, but so I was up in Oregon, and we did have cable for a while, occasionally, off and on until we there was nothing on. Like you turn it around different places, and there was anything you wanted to watch, and so we cancel it. So off and on, we'd have the cable over the years, and then later on, when TVs just started getting not just woke, but just having all kind of crap and just turning to crap basically. Um, More and more we were watching like YouTube and watching old movies. We started watching old movies way back whenever they started showing up like old westerns and like the stuff from the 1930s. Don't really watch silence. Watch one or two silent movies, but for the most part, they have to at least have some audio. I can watch. I don't mind watching black and white movies, though. That's fine. But as far as silent movies, sometimes it's a little. It's kind of like a little boring, and sometimes you have to read too, and it's kind of like yeah. Um, Maybe nowadays I could watch some silent movies or silent comedies and get something out of them now, but back in the day I didn't really do that. Anyways, so I'm pretty much been sheltered. I'm pretty much at home, and now lately just because of stuff going on with my dad, which I won't go into. So I'm mostly staying at home. So most of the time, anything for slang, anything for news, whatever comes off of X, comes off of YouTube, and that's a really small limited subset. So, since I didn't have any kids, I never learned any like modern slang really. I've heard a few things now that I know a few things like few phrases that the kids are using these days, but for the most part, been pretty sheltered. So anything that I know about the real world is is from the 80s and 90s, basically. So I don't know what kind of cliques are at schools now. I'm sure they still have them, but they're probably called something different. They were called something different in my dad's time when he was going to school in the 60s. So when I was going to school in the 80s and 90s, um, we had our terms. Um, the term geek, although it's been around for a long time, we were we weren't really calling them geeks. We were calling them nerds. I started calling them geeks like till later, like the end of the '90s, somewhere mid I don't know mid to end of the '90s. We used to be nerds. Now we're geeks. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah, in night school you're gonna have these cliques, right? And it's gonna be like they're gonna be like geek nights and jock nights and geeks, jocks, and like the popular kids and the babes. They're gonna be hot babe nights, and like I said, it's not an intention that that a that the girls really become knights because they don't. But I'm gonna put this little click in there, and so let's see, and the headmistress there hasn't been seen in months. Okay, I mean I can leave that in there because this is here. Let's go ahead and save the room data here. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little BS magical device in here and say that the babe knights, quote unquote, you know, uh, and it's gonna a stereotypical thing that they'll talk about makeup and their armors in pastel colors and um I don't know. I'll just think of some goofy stuff like that. But maybe there's some gossip going around, and now the princesses that are there that are hanging around the jocks, they might know some. They might know some gossip as well. So maybe when he goes to talks to the maybe when he talks to them, he's going to John learns Princess is going to speak. I never made it. The close on the headmistress hasn't been seen in months. Um, I don't know. Okay, so these pages are supposed to be like event list. It's supposed to be event list, and I'm not supposed to do a narrative until I do it. The narrative pass on it until I'm done here. So I don't know if I should put in the thing where he finds out via gossip that they found out about the princess via gossip, like it's like the the gossip, the grapevine in in Enchanted Lands is like lightning fast. So gossip travels really fast, and we just kind of do that. In fact, the thing is now they don't have telephones like we have telephones, but they have two-way magic mirrors. And with two-way magic mirrors, they can communicate as if you're doing a video phone or something. So, uh, so the idea will be that all the ladies in Enchanted Lands that are haven't been abducted for various reasons, um, somehow the gossip spread almost as soon as it happened, right? So somebody that was on the train heard something else. They talked to somebody else through a magic mirror, two-way magic mirror. You know, maybe uh, uh, a female Enchanted Land citizen actually has a magic mirror compact or something that she uses to talk to all of her girlfriends, and she was actually on the train, so she saw everything, right? And so I just kind of make this deal. Maybe I should, even though I don't put it in the actual page over here, maybe I should put this toward the bottom um, over here. Um, as a note. So, quick note, it's only been at the most hours since the princess was kidnapped, and John hears from a few princesses hanging around the Jock Knights, and a few of the Babe Knights. That gossip around Enchanted Lands is lightning fast. And in fact, one of the ladies on board the same train saw what happened and immediately contacted her girlfriends via via a two-way magic mirror compact. Okay. Okay, so I'm just putting that in there so I can remember it later. Okay, so now I'm gonna look up everywhere there's night in here, and actually I probably don't have that much time now before I start doing some drawing practice. So I have the drawing practice built into my thing, and it's not even gonna be any drawing of anything in the game. I need to regain some amount of control. I need to be able to draw fairly straight lines with my elbow or with my whole arm, depending. Probably my elbow because the tablet is not that big, and then vertical lines, and then and I'll have to do some practicing like this. So it'll be boring in the fact that it's not going to have anything to do with the game per se, but it will break up the development kind of visually. It'll have something to look at other than just you know. Uh, did I do a recording yesterday? I don't know if I did a recording yesterday. OBS clips. I did do one recording yesterday. Okay, good. Um, all right. Anyways, yeah. So I'll be doing that here in about 5 minutes. So let's go look up. Let's look up knight, and we're gonna find all the places where a knight's mentioned, and we're going to figure out if there's any extra information I can glean off of my all of my notes, where I can decide what. So I can decide what he's looking up. Oh, it looks like Dad woke up because I can hear the dang TV. Oh, let's turn it down a little bit. That's good. You can't really hear that well on here because I got the suppression thing on. But if it gets too loud, sometimes you might be able to hear it. Um, Real Business Academy train real soldiers with real weapons. Avengers manage free fairy godmother training, find a way to get the knights to fight for them. Okay. Max is sentenced to life training dining from the Knights Academy. Okay. Uh, Once a human, a great knight was turned into a unicorn by an old woman who happened to turn away for being too common as unicorn. He is as elusive as homelessness was to Sir William, having learned his lesson, seeks a way to be changed back. Okay, so now Hubert or Harold, as I may change it back to. I'm still pondering changing Hubert's name back to Harold. I know Harry Potter. In fact, like I said, it's very possible that the name Harold was influenced by Harry Potter because Harry Potter's quote unquote wizard. Um, and that's why I named him Harold. When I recognized the fact that it's the same name, Harold Harry is short for Harold. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll make a joke out of it. Maybe his last name rhymes with Rotter or something, or Trotter, something where the hint is that his last name is also Potter, but he had to change his name for copyright reasons. And no, that doesn't mean from Harold to Hubert. What it means is instead of calling himself Harold Potter, you won't know that it's Harold. I won't actually say Potter. If I was going to do this as a joke here, as a pun, but so instead of being Harold Potter, he'd be halfway Harold is what he'd be called, and they be call him halfway because he got half of his magic stolen, and that was the impetus. So now, when I after I read it for a while, I went that's stupid, and then I said, what kind of name could I come up with? And I came up with Hubert because it sounds funny, and the wizard Hubert the wizard. So I'm still deciding whether or not if I switch it back to Harold, I'll include the Harry Potter joke in there. If not, then I won't, of course. Anyways, so Hubert or Harold is going to know that Sir William. No, no, no. He isn't going to know. He's not going to know what happened to Sir William, but he's going to know about the fact that Sir William disappeared. Sir William's a unicorn. He's been turned into a unicorn. Nobody knows it though. Not even Hubert, seems to who seemed to used to been able to know everything that goes on in Enchanted Lands, but because of all the weird stuff that's happened, he doesn't really know what happened other than he's been missing. Okay, so um, that could possibly be a thing that John could learn. I don't know if it's important, but it might be important because there's a part where you actually play. Well, okay, so if I'm having you play all the player characters, like 7 of them or whatever, um, you get to play as Sir William in a part of it. So you get to get him to find a way of being able to be turned back into a human. So and I'll there'll be a hint that he was this human guy, that he was the Sir William the unicorn was. He won't be able to say it, but what he's going to do at one point he goes to there's a reflecting pool in front of a statue of Sir William as a human knight, right? And Sir William the Unicorn walks up by the reflecting pool and looks down and briefly sees his human face, and then turns back, and then he goes and uh, when he's uh, when he's there at the reflecting pool, kind of behind these other knights that are there, and they're pondering what happened to Sir William. They mentioned Wizard U because you have to go to Wizard U, and so essentially they'll be giving the player some hints as to where to go based on this. Um, so um, so you get to play him and you get to learn some information about why and how he was turned into a unicorn. Well, later on you learn what happened to him because nobody actually knows what happened to him, but he's even though he's a unicorn, and he manages to kind of keep out of sight, so nobody's been able to catch him. Okay, so once human Great Knight was turned into unicorn by an old woman who happened to turn away for being too common. As a unicorn, he's as elusive as humbleness was to Sir William. Having learned his lesson, he seeks a way to be changed back. Okay, Kurt the Cowardly Werewolf is no longer Kurt the Cowardly Werewolf. The character is still in there, but I kind of didn't. Um, I think I didn't have anything for him to do. I forget exactly why I changed him. So instead of him being a cowardly werewolf, he was actually going to be a good guy. He's going to help our side. He's actually now he's just a straight up bad guy, and that bit of character has been taken out. In fact, he is kind of a main villain, I think, um, or one of the main villains. So anyways, that doesn't matter right now. Black Knight loves nothing more than battle and puts the fear puts fear in the hearts of men. He also does Max's bidding and has a particular taste for unicorn meat. After having killed every last one, Violet tells him there's one more that he hasn't caught, which happens to be Sir William. Okay. Okay, so possibility. Okay, so there's two possibilities. One is he can learn about what happened to Sir William. Well, he's not going to know what happened to Sir William, but he's going to know that Sir William is missing. Okay, Sir William is kind of important because he's the guy that trained all the he trained their military. He was their leader, and he often he was often at night school, like training like tourists and stuff. So he has a kind of this big part. He was this really great knight, and of course he had the ego to match. But so okay, so the one thing is he can learn about Sir William. He's going to learn about Sir William. In fact, maybe I should have John go to the reflecting pool in the statue and to read. There's probably going to be like a little plaque in there. So and I'll have to see what I wrote for that already. But um, shoot, darn it. See, I'm over my time. That's what happens when I start talking about my stories. Okay. All right. Let's see some here. 15 minutes, 10:30 instead of would have been 10:25, right? Well, it would have been 10:25. Maybe it could still be 10:25. So I can just do 10 minutes today. I don't have to do a full thing here. Um, let me do something here. I'm gonna put you on desktop no webcam. I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna do like some squats or stretching or something just for like a quick second. Just so that I can kind of stretch my legs and I'm not sitting here straight for 2 hours. So give me a minute and then I'll sit back down and I'll do 10 minutes of like little drawing exercises while I continue to talk to you about the game and stuff, how it's going, how it's coming along, and just give me a quick sec here. Squats aren't very hard to do, but they do put you out of breath if you do them pretty fast. So I'm just you know just standing for just a quick sec. just so that and hold on a sec. Okay, I guess that's enough. Okay, okay, back to this now. What we're going to do. Actually, I'm going to do something else here for a quick sec. Let's switch back here. What I'm going to do is maybe I should make Grok work for it. Here, let's go to Grok. And I know I was doing the improving. I'm gonna turn on deep search. I don't know what deeper search. I wonder if that will do anything. Um, can you give me some modern some up to date URLs for places where I can download tracing templates for basic drawing exercises. It's like straight lines and curves and various shapes, like circles, like squares, triangles, circles, ellipses. Wait, how do you spell ellipse? Ellipse. Two L's. That's right. Ellipses. And that sort of thing. Wait a sec. Oh, for free. Okay, I'm gonna have it do it. It's doing deeper search. I don't know how long it's gonna take. We'll see. And we'll just go to 1025. It doesn't matter if I don't do any drawing exercises just today. Templates like to be used. Valuing search approach. Drawing students, artists, not just children's worksheets. Yeah, I don't mind if it comes up with children's stuff. It's a thing to help me uh, learn control and confidence. Now there's a couple of tutorials I've seen where one of the exercises is like drawing lines, but then like increasing and decreasing pen pressure. So you can get that sort of control. I'm not really that interested in thicker and thinner lines because I'm not. First of all, I'm not doing like a comic, and second of all, um, I'm more interested in just the line control, the control over my stylus to be able to confidently do straight lines and do curves and do perfect circles and ovals. They won't ever like be perfect, but it'll be fairly good, like good enough, right? I think. Uh, anyways, so I'll download some, and then what I'm thinking about doing is I'm thinking about just simply not even doing them myself. Although maybe I should do that. Maybe I should have a thing where I trace it several times and then I copy it, or I turn off. Maybe I turn off the opacity, or maybe I turn off the visibility of the template I'm using, and then draw it by itself. Maybe I could do something like that. I'll assume the current given simulated environment websites like they have, so they should still be up. Browsing Tulamama for free chasing lines worksheets. Deeper search kind of takes a while. It looks like I've never used deeper search. I've used deep search once or twice. It's supposed to go more in depth. Anyways, 10:25. Almost done. 10:25 to 10:30 to 11. Okay, right. Well, actually, it'd be 30 minutes, not 35 minutes. Wait, okay, so, um, here, I wonder if I can open this in a new tab. Yeah. Uh, Let me look at this again. 10 minutes setup for your chat. 60 minutes. That's 70 minutes total. 15 minutes game related drawing. So that would be 25, right? So it'd be like 9:10, and then it'd be 10:10, and then it'd be 10:20, 10:25, and then 35 minutes of story work. The only thing is being able to um what was I saying? Yeah, maybe I should be doing only 30 minutes left. So from 10:25 to 11 to 10:55. So that way I have my little 5 minutes to actually quit and end up quitting. Recommended websites. Okay. Great, you experimenting with the workspace. 45 degrees. Okay. I don't want to do that. I need to go all the way down to today. Okay. Start experimenting. Hitting some talent. Don't worry. Sketchy straight lines. Um, Suggestion for improving straight line control. Use tracing templates. Where to find them. How to practice. Import. Focus for vertical line on vertical line technique. I'm gonna go ahead and switch to think. I think. Um, okay, wait. There we go. This is the actual thinking key points. PDFs, motor skills listed. Free tracing templates. How to use the templates. Download. Blender, go to add image reference to import the PDF or scanned image, and create a open PDF as a layer and lower its opacity for tracing. Practice. 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. Recommended websites, superstar worksheets, detailed resources. Oh, so what's interesting here is none of these are click on this. I can click on this one. Now, is the first link the same link? It is. Okay, so let's close this for a second then. There we go. Okay. Go back up to the actual thing here. Okay. Now these are, hopefully these are free. Match math worksheets, edition worksheets. Free worksheets by grade, subject. Tracing. So I'm on the tracing thing itself. So that thing on the left is the thing on the left. Okay. Box line tracing. Vertical line tracing. Oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Square tracing worksheet, small square, uh, curved, curved line tracing worksheet, diagonal. Okay, this is good. Um, I might actually put this in a. I have YouTube tutorials under here. Let's go ahead and create new folder. Let's call this tracing sources, something like that. Go ahead and put this under Enchanted Dev. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and mark this into tracing resources. Okay. And it's already, see, it's already time here. I'm going to go ahead and click on some of these other ones. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Fine, we'll go ahead and we'll also put this in tracing resources done. Maybe I should just go in and okay, I don't need to. Okay, let's just open the rest of these up here. All Kids Network, that's fine. I don't mind if it's kids stuff. It doesn't really matter because I'm just trying to train my hand to be able to see even preschool stuff is fine. See, okay, math worksheets for kids. Oh, I see. Tracing lines. And download. Oh, cool. Cool, cool. Let's just go ahead and do the same thing here. Done. Okay. Done. Uh, uh, okay. And some of these are going to be the same. Here, let's go ahead and add all these as bookmarks. Free printables. This is kind of funny. Nobody talks about, going in, like, this is preschool, right? um, and preschool is cool. I mean, this is actually teaching kids shapes, but for in my case, it would be, like I said, teaching myself control, like stylus control, right? Okay, that's the break time thing. Anyways, I have about 30 minutes left today in this part one. Hold on a sec. Okay, I did that. Now I'm gonna ask Grok one more thing here. Uh, okay, so I'm gonna switch to think, and I'm gonna say, okay, given the same setup, an older Wacom non-screen graphics tablet, would you say artists learn to most digital artists learn to draw vertical lines, or do they tend to move their tablet around? And should I do the same thing? Now, Note, however, I don't have the ability. Um, However, there's no feature or ability that allows an app to judge when you rotated the tablet like that. I tend to draw horizontally better, so I can actually rotate the tablet in order to make vertical lines horizontally. Okay, so we're turning on the thinking. We're not doing the search for this. We're gonna see what happens here. See how long it takes. That's why I put the thinking on. So, um, whether most users learn to draw vertical lines or rotate the tablets. Okay, I guess I'll let it go and then I'll go back up and read it. So it's kind of a pain because it goes a little bit too fast for reading, and it fights you when you try to go back up while it's still generating text. All right, let's see what we got here. Great to hear from you about your drawing setup with your older Wacom non-screen graphic tablet. I'll address your question about whether most digital artists learn to draw vertical lines or rotate their tablets, or whether you should do the same, especially since you draw horizontal lines better and considering rotating the tablet to make vertical lines horizontal. Let's break this down. Most digital artists learn to draw vertical lines without rotating their tablets. Physically moving the tablet around isn't a common practice for vertical lines, although some uh, artists rotate their canvas in their software for specific strokes. Like you can do that with paper though. Like I can kind of turn it around to make it a little bit easier. So I might actually do that. Typically develop the skill to draw vertical lines naturally over time. This part of the building muscle memory and control with the graphics app, regardless of whether it's a screen or non-screen model. Rotating the tablet isn't necessary for this, and most artists adapt to drawing in all directions without moving their hardware. Tab rotation isn't standard. Physically rotating the tablet can be awkward and impractical. It's especially tricky with larger tablets and small workspaces and disrupts your setup. As a result, it's not widespread habit among digital artists for something as basic as vertical lines. Canvas rotation is an alternative. Some artists do rotate the canvas with their software, e.g. Krita or Photoshop, to adjust the angle of their artwork. This is more common for diagonal strokes or detailed sections, but it's still not the go-to method for vertical lines. It's a software solution that avoids moving the tablet itself. So rotating the tablet is an option. It's not something most digital artists rely on. They learn to handle vertical lines as part of their skill set. Since you're using older Wacom and flying horizontal lines, rotating the tablet to turn vertical lines and horizontal lines is a creative idea. Let's explore it. You're better at drawing horizontal lines, likely due to your hand position, wrist, arm movement, or muscle memory from prior drawing experience. Okay. Challenge. Vertical lines feel less natural. If you notice, hold on, let me check something here real quick. Okay, okay. All right. Anyways, you better at drawing horizontal lines. Challenge. Vertical lines feel less natural if you know that there's no feature in your apps Detect tablet rotation. It means software won't automatically adjust canvas orientation. Yeah, maybe that's something that you can't do. I didn't think about it, I guess, because when you like your phone, when it's able to tell when it's falling or when it's upside down and stuff, it's like literally it's a upside down thing. If you set a phone flat on a desk and you turn it around, it would not be able to tell um, what's up and what's down. So I guess that's kind of a dumb thing to think about. Okay, so you're working the okay. Leverage your strength. Quick workaround. Colin, you need to manually rotate the canvas in your software to match the tablet's orientation. Well, actually, that's not true. If I'm drawing, okay, so if I draw like if I'm drawing a square, right, and I go across the top like this. Actually, uh let me pull up OBS so I can see if I'm seeing correctly. So um if I'm drawing a line that and or if I'm drawing a line like this to my right, anyways, and I wanted to draw down instead of just drawing down, if I rotate the tablet a little bit, then I can actually draw the down line. Um, uh, I can actually draw it more horizontally, and then I can switch it back to draw the next horizontal line, and then switch it again to draw the next vertical line. So it might be inconvenient. I'm not saying that it's not inconvenient. I'm just saying that I don't need to rotate the canvas to do that because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to draw a square box on the screen, but I want to rotate my tablet a little bit so that it makes it easier for me to draw that straight line. But most people don't do it. Why? Because it's probably a pain in the butt. That's why they do it with software though, because on paper you can pretty much do it pretty easily. You might not do it a lot, but you might do it to get a better handle on something. You might rotate your paper. Um, Aim to build the skill, practice, and yeah. Not ideal long term. That's okay. Tablet settings, tweak your software. Okay. Actually, here let's switch back here. Um, actually, if I was trying to draw a square and I needed to rotate to draw the vertical lines more horizontally, I don't rotate the canvas in the software because I'm trying to draw a orthogonal square, not a diagonal. Because what it'll do is it will just draw down, even though that's what I'm doing. Well, actually, it's not what I want to know. Maybe I should just turn think off for this part. It's saying you need to rotate your canvas. Well, that's not true. I mean, it shouldn't be true, right? Let's see, if I'm drawing a straight line here, and I do this, and I want to draw a more straight line here, I don't have to draw the canvas that ways. And actually, I'm not asking it how to do this. I'm saying I don't rotate the canvas in the app. Um, adjust your hand position. Okay. I'll turn off the think here for a second. In a second here. Okay, so thing off. I didn't want to know how. I was simply making this statement that I would not be rotating my canvas. Um, I see what it says though. I mean, you could if I rotated my canvas, then I'm drawing a horizontal line, and it's showing up on the screen as a horizontal line. If I don't, it's going to show up as vertical. But vertical is what I'm talking about. I do understand, however, that if I did both turn the tablet and the canvas, now that vertical line would be horizontal, and it would still work as long as I turned it back upright. Say I was drawing a refrigerator, which is a vertical rectangular object. Alright, I understand now that you're not planning to rotate the canvas, and we're just noting how turning both the tablet and the canvas would make a vertical line feel horizontal, and then when drawing vertical rectangular objects such as a refrigerator, you're absolutely right. If you rotate the tablet and the canvas together, vertical line on the rotated set becomes a horizontal line to draw. Reading both back to upright keeps the proportions intact. That's a smart observation. Since you're not asking for how, just showing your thought process of this brief, your approach makes sense. Okay. All right. That's a bunch of stuff that I didn't need to actually go into here. But okay. So I will do I will do some tracing, and I will do some non-tracing, and hopefully after a while we'll say the rest of the 2 weeks before my next break. I'll say that, and hopefully I will have improved in such a way. Um, Even on my break, I might practice drawing exercises, but it won't be on stream, of course. Anyways, that's not what I'm doing right now. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look and see if there are any other thing. Okay. So let's pull this up. Uh, okay, Black Knight. I don't know how you know to ask about the Black Knight. There'd have to be somebody that actually mentions it. Uh, uh, okay. Maybe the Black Knight is actually training training these soldiers. Um, and so that would be a thing to ask about. Okay, I get it. Here's a message to the wish to turn me into a unicorn under which I have sought you out to plead for my release from the spell. I would like to apologize for turning you away in that fateful, dark, and rainy night. I would never share my fire with a commoner, not even a kindly old beggar woman acting as if I were royalty. I feel I have changed now. Let me explain why I was the way I was. I grew up with rich parents. You know, their kids were jealous and would pick on me because of it, so my parents would tell me I was better than them. So then I started believing it. My parents were only trying to make me feel better, but I became conceited. I do believe I've changed for the better and wish to be released from the spell. Please forgive me and release me. I used to be a good knight. Now I wish to become a humble one. Sincerely, Sir William Devane, Esquire. Okay. And actually, Esquire, I think I decided Esquire is kind of like an informal title. I forget what Esquire is about, but I think Esquire is going to be used as his last name. I think is what I decided. I'm not sure, but I think that's what I decided. Anyways, let's go down again. Black Knight. No, no background. No, no background exists for his fondness for unicorn meat. Fearsome though you are, Eugene wants to welcome you and ask you to tell you a bit about yourself. Black Knight used to go to Knights Academy until I was kicked out. Uh, yeah, and he might have been training. He might have went there, and then now he'd be back there because Max has hired him to lead his armies. Do everything backwards, capture villagers, beat them up, hold maids hostage until their families pay up. Sometimes I'd burn huts up for fun. It wasn't exactly what they wanted. Uh, So how do you know Maximilian's spell? He's an old college buddy. We sneak in Princess Prep, have a little fun, but this was before the tourists have a thing for roasted unicorn meat. So imagine my surprise after I thought I caught the last one. Max contacts me and says there's another unicorn that he'll tell me about it if I do some mana handling first. I had nothing better to do, so I took him up on the offer. You're hunting Sir William. He's not a sir anymore. After this job, I guess I'll retire. Thanks for spending some time with us. Okay, that wasn't very long interview, but that's okay. The Black Knight. Okay. Unicorns, virtually extinct animal now, like you've heard in the stories. Horse-like, single protruding horn coming out of their heads. Horn's magical directional device, which allows the unicorn to find any location. That's important. In fact, I should really play that up because that's something that I put in there. Like it's a magical pointing device, essentially. Thus, when it's bridle, will take the bear anywhere he or she would like to go. They're not generally afraid of people. However, if they sense you have evil intentions, they will not let you bridle them. Rumor has it that a great knight was once turned into a unicorn to be forever hunted by the Black Knight. Okay. Royalty. Quick note about royalty. And I don't know if I'm sticking with this deal about royalty here. They're not a distinct race per se. They're generally treated as one. Kings and queens are not necessarily born into it. A boy can become squires. Yeah, I had this whole thing where they get to work up to being essentially being royalty. You know, royalty by its nature is not. It's just something you're supposed to be born with or whatever, or imbued or whatever. But in 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 Enchanted Lands here, they become squires and work their way up to becoming a knight. Only a knight could become king and must enter a contest against others and eventually must challenge the current king. If defeated, the king must pass on his crown to the knight that defeated him. Never done in anger, if it's shown to be in anger, it will not is and not in the spirit of friendly competition, a knight can be disgraced and shamed. So even though you're allowed to challenge the king or fight or contest with him, the king can, at his own discretion, de-knight the person. Girls do something similar, become a lady in waiting, can work their way up to princess. However, a new queen is only picked when a knight becomes king through the challenge. A knight that becomes king must pick it from the available princesses, even if there's only one. A daughter born to the king and queen is automatically a princess, but still must be picked. If the king and queen want to marry their daughter off early, they can encourage a knight to challenge the king. The new king still gets the choice, though. At times, it might be necessary to elect a new king rather than through challenge. So I have this whole setup, the way kings and queens and the way kind of royalty works. It's more like they're elected, sort of. They're not really elected, but kind of. Um, um, but it's merit. So it's a merit based monarchy, which I don't know if there's ever been something like that tried in like real life or whatever. But I just thought it's like when you're a kid and you hear about stuff, but you don't hear everything. You don't really know what a squire is, other than that they attend a night somehow, and you don't really think of the fact that not everybody could become a knight. You have to be knighted, and I don't know. There's certain things that you don't know as a kid that I probably don't even know now, but um, where the way it worked. And so in my mind, it was like, okay, so you know, you go from this, and I don't know the steps in between squire and knight, but there are um, there are different steps in there. Um, Actually, it's funny. It's too bad I didn't somehow record it because it was when I was talking on Chat GPT and I was coming up with I was using Esquire. Esquire is a kind of an informal title, I think. Can't remember exactly, but I made it part of his name, and so in my world, that's it's part of their name. Um, well, I was thinking maybe let's see. Here, let me look that up real quick. It's almost time for me to go, and like I said, I didn't. Let's see, where's the thing here? Okay. Um, how and where is the word Esquire used? There's a thing that I would Manor Boy, who was a member of the gentry in England, ranking directly below a knight. Okay. He uses an honorific usually in its abbreviated form, especially after the name of an attorney or consular officer, barrister at law. Um, okay, so let's do a AI thing here. Esquire, meaning squire, which itself derives from the late Latin squitarius, referring to a shield bearer or attendant to a knight. Okay. Synonyms of esquire include squire, gentleman, knight, in modern legal context, attorney, lawyer. Antonyms of esquire are not commonly used in modern English, but historically could include terms like commoner or peasant, denoting someone without gentry status. Um, how does one become an esquire? And what would stop someone from being an esquire in an old English context? Let's see if it'll tell me here. Immediately in the term esquire from the originally referred to a young man who served as an attendant to a knight and was training to become a knight himself. The path to becoming an esquire was part of a structured progression in the knightly class, typically beginning in childhood. Started around age 7 to 10, when a boy would become a page. Okay. Well, hey, maybe this is the way that worked. Okay, that's cool. I mean, that's kind of what I thought anyway, so that's not a bad deal. I think. Okay, so I think what I wanted to do, I think I remember now. Sir William Devane is his name. Esquire is a title, and in Enchanted Lands, the idea is that you can always use the title to add something to your name. In other words, even though he ended up being a knight, he could still use Esquire as part of his name, as part of his title. You might say. Let's see. Well, he become a page, serving a noble in a noble household to learn basic skills. Approximately age 14, and page would advance to the rank of squire, term derived from esquire. Marking the next stage in knightly training, as the squire's duties included caring for the knight's armor and weapons, maintaining horses, assisting them in battle. Okay. Squires were expected to master combat skills such as swordsmanship, lance use, and horsemanship, as well as non-martial accomplishments like music, dance, courtly manners. Interesting. They also studied the code of chivalry and were often trained in reading and writing, particularly in Latin and French. Becoming a squire did not require becoming a squire did not require formal knighthood, but is a prerequisite for it. Upon successful completion of training, typically between the ages of 18 and 21, a squire could be knighted in a formal dubbing ceremony, often performed by his lord or another knight. The ceremony included symbolic rituals such as a vigil in a chapel and a bestowal of arms and armor. I see. Interesting. While many squires were sons of knights or nobles, some came less exalted backgrounds, including freemen and wealthy merchants, especially as the demand for skilled warriors increased. Exceptional bravery in battle could also lead a soldier to being made a knight, bypassing the traditional training path. However, by the 13th century, knighthood and associated status like that of esquire became increasingly tied to noble lineage. Thus, becoming an esquire in medieval England primarily required a noble or gentry status, entry into a knight's household as a page. Um, So, uh, at some point, they had to be of noble blood. I think it's very interesting because this is the way my thing works. It still be the same thing, you know. Page, squire, whatever. Uh, it did not initially require noble birth, as it originated from the role of a knight, shield bearer, or attendant, often a young man. By the 15th century, esquire in Middle-earth referred to more broadly a noble attendant of higher rank, which included knights, squires, but not strictly limited to those of noble birth at the outset. Over the time, title became associated with social status and be held by individuals through birth, such as eldest sons, knights, and nobles, as well as through official appointments. Thus, while noble birth became one recognized path to the title, it was not sole requirement. Okay, so what I was doing was fine. I was doing the thing of where Esquire in Sir William's case was a title that he was able to keep after becoming a knight as a sort of a title, an honorific or something. Okay, so well now I totally wasted the rest of my time here. Uh, I guess I can end the stream about here. Um, Night School Wizard U-Haul. Night School. Okay. Um. All right. Save room data. Just making sure everything's saved. And I. Okay. So then I'll talk to you in part 2, which will be in about an hour, where I can go eat, take my break, and then another 2 hour while I'll be again working on the layout tool. I don't know if I'll get anything done with that either, but you know that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching the first half, and I'll see you later in the second half. Possibly in the second half if you're around. So yeah, thanks. Thank you for watching part 1.